Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Women of Golf Show. I'm your host, Ted Odorico, and right alongside here, of course, is my partner and co-host, LPGA professional and Legends Tour player, Cindy Miller. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning, Ted.
Great morning this morning. I'm actually excited. It's been a good week here so far. I mean, it's only Tuesday. I realize that. A great weekend, lots of sunshine here down in Florida. We've had some rain here for the last week or so, and so I'm kind of excited about that, but I'm also excited about the show this morning. We've got some great guests, and I'll tell you about those in just a second. But let me remind everybody, of course, we are live every Tuesday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and you can get to us by going to blogtalkradio.com and go up in the search key and type Women of Golf, and that's the easiest way to get there. And for some reason, if you're not able to join us live, just go to that link and just scroll down a little bit, and you'll see the on-demand section. And you can listen to any of the shows as they are auto-recorded during the live broadcast. You can listen to them at your leisure, but we certainly appreciate those of you that are able to join us live today. As I said, we got some special guests coming up here in just a bit. Also, just a reminder as well that the show is available for download in iTunes. Go to itunes.com under the podcast section and type in Women of Golf, and you'll get us there as well. You can certainly call in live during the broadcast and speak with either Cindy and I or the guests at area code 347-945-5855. And you can certainly email the program as well at womenofgolf@gmail.com. And if you're interested in coming on the show, reach out to Cindy at cindy@cindymillergolf.com, and she will certainly make arrangements to get you into the schedule. And if you just want to say hello, you can email me personally as well at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. Coming up this morning, Cindy, we've got Bret, Lasky, the senior coordinator from the Symetra Tours Media, LPGA. And a little bit later, we're going to be joined by Handel and Jeanne Stafford. We're going to talk about some of the things going on in women's golf. But great show, very interesting, and looking forward to it. So what's been happening in the Cindy Miller camp here for the last week?
Well, we have actually had some sunshine in western New York, so we've been outside giving lessons. And coming up this next weekend, we have a big U.S. Kids Golf Tournament at Hickory Stick, which is a Seneca Niagara Casino golf club, and I'm going to caddy for one of my little 10-year-olds who is playing in a tournament, and her mom and dad don't really know a whole lot about golf, but we've got about 10 kids playing in this tournament, so we're going to do a little playing lesson Friday to get everybody ready for their competition, and I'm really looking forward to helping the kids get a little bit better.
Now, is this a charity type event, or is it just a regular?
U.S. Kids Golf Tour has a summer tour, and this is their last event of the summer tour, and it's Sunday, May 10th, Mother's Day, and it's going to be – most of the tournaments for us are in Canada. We'd like to have a tour in the United States, but at this point, Canadian tour isn't quite full, so
Right.
this one tournament is in the United States, so a lot of our kids are going to play. And it's a tour for anyone from 5 to 14 to compete, and they play the tees way up. So we have a 6-year-old little girl that shot 41 last week and came in second for 9 holes, which is pretty sporty.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, and it's great. And U.S. Kids, of course, does a lot of great work, and I know you're a part of that organization as well, helping out. And you do a lot of great work, Cindy, at all ages, not just with the kids, but also with adults as well. And are you going to be coming down to Florida in the next little while again for anything, or are you pretty much settled up north now?
No, but you know where I get to go next week? I get to go to the LPGA Tour event in Williamsburg. And I have the opportunity to film a public service announcement for the LPGA with none other than Jeanne Woods.
Oh, wow. Fantastic.
Yeah,
that's very good. Now, are you just attending the event, or are you going to be actually playing in the event as well, or no?
No, I'm not playing in the event. No, I'm just going to be part of the teaching division. So it's basically a commercial for the LPGA.
Okay.
And it'll be aired on the, the telecast with the LPGA. So a couple other teaching pros and I and Jeanne Woods and Lynn Marriott, Tia Nelson, and probably 3 or 4 teaching pros and Jeanne, just showing how, what does it take to become an LPGA teaching division member, and what do you have to do, and how qualified we are, and how we teach people from cradle to grave, basically.
Wow, that's fantastic, and what an honor! You get some great gigs like that, and that's just great for helping.
I really do.
You do?
I'm so grateful.
I'm jealous.
I just. Well, no, I mean you got to be grateful for what comes out of the sky at you, and I truly am.
I know. No, well, let me just say for those listening, it's well deserved. Cindy, as I've said a number of times before, is probably one of the hardest working women I know in golf. Just constantly on the go and just always, trying to find new ways and new ideas to help grow this game and just to help your students and help those that not necessarily your students, but just help those out there that want to learn from somebody that has professed that you still have to grind it out there yourself sometimes, and it's not easy.
Well, I don't think we ever arrive, if you will.
No.
That's what's so great about this game. It humbles you. Alan says, my husband says, the worst 4 words in golf are "I've got it now." No, you don't.
Yeah.
The minute you think you've arrived, you're going to get slapped in the face. So there's always lessons to learn.
Yeah, I remember that. I'll just take a quick second, but I remember that as a youngster when my father was first teaching me the game, and he would show me something, and I would think, Dad, I finally got it, and he'd say, okay, and he'd say, well, let's see you do it again, and of course I wouldn't be able to do it again. I'd say, what happened? And he said, you're never going to get it, 100%. It's always a journey, and he says you're going to get better as you improve or as you continue to practice, but you're never going to arrive as you said. So yeah, you're well advised to take those words to heed. But I see that Bret's joining us here, so let me just do a quick announcement, and then we'll bring Bret Lasky on the show with us. Just a little bit about Bret. Of course, his experience is primarily in media and PR broadcasting, social media, and graphic design. And over a 6-year span, he worked in actually minor league baseball and also college athletics. He's broadcasted professional baseball for 5 years, as well as called Division I basketball for 4 years. He's an experienced sports play-by-play broadcaster with versatility in the areas of media relations, graphic design, as I mentioned, and social media, of course. And in 2012, he was named the South Atlantic League Media Relations Director of the Year by league executives and also by his peers. And now he's settled very nicely as a senior coordinator for the Symetra Tour's media division. And without further hesitation, let's bring Bret on. Good morning, Bret. Welcome to the show. Hi, good morning, Bret. And I don't think this is Bret. Let me try this. Good morning, Bret. That's not Bret either. Sorry. I guess it's not with us yet. I received an email. I apologize to the listeners, but Bret had sent me an email and he said he was going to be running a few minutes late, and I see that somebody else had jumped on the line here, but obviously they've jumped back out. So, Cindy, let's just continue on while we wait for Bret. Hopefully he will be here in a few more minutes. He was running late, he said, at some event, so we'll just have to bear with him, and hopefully he'll be able to join us here in just a few minutes. So what's some of the other things, Cindy, that you've got coming up?
What are the other things? I've got the ACE Invitational. It's the ACE Insurance Group, their National Women's Business Leadership Conference that I will be speaking at, and my session is going to be the why behind what motivates you. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to do some assessments. There's going to be 80 to 100 women there, and we're going to help them learn how to figure out what motivates people to action, and what motivates one may not motivate the other. Therefore, people can drive you crazy because they're not fired up like you are.
Right.
And learn how to deal with that. Right.
Did you get a chance to watch any of the action on the weekend? I believe Rory, did he not win the WGC?
He did, and I was fixing golf swings, so I was not able to see what was going on.
Yeah,
I was
not
not able to see it. But you know what? Alan was telling me and giving me updates, and he said, there's a perfect example of Doc giving up, because I know he was a few down in a couple different matches and did not give up and ended up winning. Did you get to see it?
I didn't, and I, like you, I get so busy sometimes, and I used to, obviously years ago, I used to be able to watch much more of the tournaments, and I got to confess, it's difficult sometimes on the weekends because you're so busy during the week, and then you've got other commitments on the weekends and that, and so I try to, like you, or like Alan does, I try to jump in here and there and get bits and pieces. But no, I didn't. The last few weeks I just have not. I've been so busy with different things going on that I just haven't had a chance to really keep up with a lot of the tournaments and that. But I just saw the headline recently that he had that he had won. Sorry, go ahead.
One thing I would like to discuss. I have had this experience quite a bit in the last week. And as I mentioned, we have a lot of junior golfers that compete and play in tournaments. And, they hit the ball really well on the range. They feel like they know what they're doing. And I think we discussed this last week. We're just, teaching the swing start or stop, and when does coaching how to play begin? And we've had an awful lot of kids and adults say, I can hit it good here with you, but I can't take it out on the golf course.
Yeah.
And one of our juniors, he played really, really bad. And I said, after today, because he was coming in Saturday and he was going to play in a tournament, and I said, when you get done today, I would really like you to text me how you did. If you were able to stay in the present moment, how you did, were you thinking about the process? And he texted me Saturday night, and he said, I played terrible. When I get to the golf course, it's like a switch flips on, and I can't play. And I thought, this has nothing to do with your golf swing. This has everything to do with your expectations. So I think it might help our listeners to realize there's a difference between standing on the range and hitting shots and being able to produce those same shots in a game time situation. And you really have to know how to shift states and produce golf shots.
Yeah,
you ever find that with your students?
Yeah, I do as well, and I get that. That's a very common besides how to fix the slice and the usual comments that you get or questions that you get, and that's a big one. It's how do I take my range game, because they'll all be hitting some fantastic shots on the range, but then as soon as you bring them out on the course and do a playing lesson, it's like, what happened to the John that was back on the range? What happened to the game that you had there? And I think what it is, Cindy, to be honest, I think a lot of it's the pressure I think they're very relaxed on the range. Certainly the first time or two working with you, they're a little nervous. But once they kind of settle into, a comfort zone with you as their instructor or coach, that sort of falls by the wayside. But then when they've got to, put that game together, if you will, and actually produce the shots, it's not a matter of, they hit a ball and well, if that one didn't work, they could just tee up another one and on the range. Now they're playing in a real course situation. They don't get do-overs. And I think that pressure just gets to them a lot of times. And that's what I find with my students as well. And I just say, look, you have to be focused in the moment and not worry about so much where the ball is going to go. Pick your target and think about what it is that you want to accomplish with this shot. And then from that point, put it out of your mind. Don't sit there and think about, well, I got to have my right arm here and, I've got to do this and do that. Just have one swing thought or one thought process during the execution of that shot, and don't get cluttered up and don't worry about everything that's going on around. And I think just some people, and I'm sure you find this as well, allow themselves to be distracted with thought.
Well, or I don't think they know what to think.
Right.
So therefore, there's so many thoughts and so many voices in their heads that they get totally confused. What I suggest is you plan the shot. Okay, where do I want this ball to go? What's my smartest play from here? And then what club am I going to use to get that shot off? Where am I going to aim? And then follow the process, and you can produce. Rather than, it's really windy and everybody's watching me and I don't want to screw this up and you can't look stupid and it's the fear, the doubt, the frustration, the hesitation and all that and worrying about letting your parents down.
Sure.
It's so sad because if you don't learn how to do that and you're not worried about expectations, this game is no fun whatsoever. In fact, it's mental torture.
Yeah, and that's true, and especially for the kids. And I would agree with that 100%, Cindy. I think one of the problems with a lot of parents is they see potential in their child, and it's just push, and they there's enough pressure in this game as it is, without having the added pressure of trying to please your parents or your peers. And I think you just have to go out there and do the best that you can do. And the mental side of the game is really, in my opinion, the physical side, the ball striking that, as you've mentioned several times, Alan was a phenomenal ball striker. But not everybody is going to be as good of a ball striker, say, as he is, but they might be good enough to be competitive. But what's going to dictate how well they do is not so much their ball striking ability as it is how they're going to hold up under pressure and difficult situations. And that's really, if you look over time, some of the best players in the world were not necessarily the best ball strikers. They were just very mentally tough and were able to do exactly as you just mentioned. They were able to
get the ball to go around the golf course. Yeah, even if you have to take a half swing, with your feet together,
Yeah.
Fun.
Well, listen, I played years ago. I gave a lesson to a gentleman back up in Glen Abbey, which is for years hosted the Canadian Tour, or the Canadian Open, rather, on the PGA Tour. And somebody I knew in the clubhouse there, I just happened to be there, and he said, I got a gentleman here, and he said he would love to, to have a lesson, and he said, but I'm just going to forewarn you, he's had some surgeries and whatever. I forget now what it was. I think he was diabetic at one point or something, and had lost a limb, and so he was only be able to play with one arm. And he said, do you think you can handle that? And I said, yeah. And so we went out, and we actually went out and played a few holes. And I'll tell you, this guy was incredible. Despite the physical limitations, he was just incredible, very mentally strong. He just wanted some more, just some thought process, if you will, to help him guide himself around the course, and wanted a little, help with his putting and things, which he really didn't need, to be honest. I almost felt guilty about taking his money, because I said, you're actually a phenomenal golfer, despite, some of the limitations that you've had. And he says, it's just every once in a while you like to have a tune-up and just make sure that your mind is focused and that. So, you don't have to be the best ball striker. You don't have to be the best physically fit person to play great golf. You just have to be somebody that understands what it is that you need to do from tee to green. And some people can do it and some people can't. And that's, really the bottom line. And it's our job, yours and mine, Cindy, is to help people to be able to focus on reaching and achieving their goals.
Absolutely.
All
and
right,
helping
Cindy,
them become clear on their expectations, I think, as well.
And being realistic, being realistic with their expectations, I think, is extremely important. A lot of people go in with, even some of the tour players, in earlier times, I think their expectations were too high and not realistic for the time, No, actually, I take that back, because Jordan Spieth talked about winning the Masters when he was 12 or 14 years old. So, and he did it here in 2015. So maybe that saying wasn't 100% accurate. It looks like Bret is a little bit delayed, and I see that the ladies are ready here. So, Cindy, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring both Karen and Jeanne on here in just a second. But let me just read out very quickly both of their bios. We have joining us, of course, this morning to talk about business golf for women, Karen Handel, who is going to be a keynote speaker actually at an upcoming event, which I'll talk about here in a little bit. But Karen brings to business golf for women a unique and colorful view of the golf game, and demonstrates how golf can literally change professional business women's lives. She is described as scrappy and determined, qualities that have helped distinguish her in business and politics as someone who gets things done, somebody after my own heart. She has held policy and communications positions with several major corporations and nonprofits, and served in the White House as deputy chief to a governor, as well as the CEO of one of Georgia's largest chambers of commerce, and led that organization back literally from the brink of bankruptcy. She is the first woman to be elected commission chairman of Georgia's largest county, one of just 5 women to ever to be elected statewide office in Georgia. She served as the state's 26th Secretary of State. She also ran competitive campaigns for governor and U.S. Senate, becoming the first woman to win a gubernatorial primary and first Republican woman to run for U.S. Senate in the state of Georgia. As a business management, communications, and leadership development consultant, Karen believes we need more tell-the-truth leader individuals with courage, to say what needs to be said and to do what needs to be done. She's a sought-after motivational speaker and an Aspen Institute Rodel Fellow. And also joining her is Jeanne M. Stafford, who is also a communications strategist and speaker from the greater New York City area, as well as offers professional training and coaching. And here's just a little bit about Jeanne, and then I'll bring both of them on. Jeanne Stafford spent 15 years as a political and nonprofit fundraiser. She's worked on the campaigns of not only presidents, governors, and even a mayor, and has also worked with the United Nations. These experiences have certainly enabled her to create innovative solutions to reach her goals and build a wide network of resources and associations. And in tandem with the launch of her company, Jeanne began the study of improvisation comedy in New York City and performs regularly in front of live audiences. Very interesting. Her oldest child, of course, was diagnosed with autism, and Jeanne has been presented, of course, with some very difficult challenges. But the skills that she has been honing on stage has been able to help build a path for a child who was told would not reach certain milestones. So she's immersed herself in education and community and learned a lot more about listening. A few years ago, she created the networking event she always wanted to attend, the Jeanne Stafford's Networking Dinner, which is a personal, thoughtful, and fun way to hear Jeanne and her brilliant guest speakers while they enjoy a meal and obviously meet some new people. She's, as she puts it, is a nut about being involved and serves on boards in the arts and education. And as a speaker and communications coach, Jeanne now brings her love for improv to her work with teams and individuals, teaching her audience to say yes to every space they enter. Without further hesitation, Cindy, let me bring both Jeanne and Karen on the show.
Good morning. This is Karen. How are y'all?
Good morning, ladies, and welcome to the Women of Golf.
Great. Good morning. Great to be here. Thank you, Ted.
Thank you very much for joining. Thank you for joining us. Let me just start things off, and then Cindy, I know you want to jump in as well. Let's talk about, ladies, and Karen, if you want to start the conversation off, that's fine. What is the current, in your estimation, the current social and business situation for women in golf, in your estimation, from what you've experienced?
Sky's the limit for women in golf, and I'm really incredibly fortunate that my home club, Country Club of Roswell, is without question, if not the one of the most women-friendly clubs, certainly in the state of Georgia, but perhaps in the southeast in the country. And for women, I think it is an absolutely just spot-on place to do business networking for the following reason. Networking is all about building relationships. And on the golf course, when you play golf with a prospective client or someone that you work with, someone you want to do business with, you have 4+ hours of really solid quality time together, where if you go to a cocktail reception or a breakfast, you get 30 minutes to an hour. We need more women. In fact, if you look at the game of golf, women are coming to the game in droves. Why? Mm-hmm. Because it is a sport that anyone can play, no matter what your level, from beginner to advanced, and everyone can do it as long as you play your game and you don't try to play someone else's game.
Well said. And Jeanne, what about yourself? Is golf something that you have found that you've over the years have gravitated to, or is it something that's fairly new for you as well, or what's your perspective on it?
I was brought into the game very early. I was 13 years old, and
oh, wow.
My father at the time actually belonged to a club that was all male. And there was a little sign in the locker room that said, "Sign your children up for golf." And he put my name on, and the pro assumed I was a boy, Jeanne, a boy. And when I showed up, he did not bat an eyelash. This is in the 80s. He welcomed me and taught me. I had the privilege of learning from one of the greatest pros in the country. And I was then, from that moment, I know that was a really powerful, had a powerful impact on me, because unlike Karen, I play in a lot of outings, and I'm normally one of very few women in outings, even outings that are fundraisers for, let's say, a women's athletic association of a college. So I'm on a bandwagon here to expose people and let them know just exactly what Karen said, that, this is about relationship building and a 4-hour space to share and grow. So my personal connection started very early, and I think that helped me to stay in the game despite a little bit of kickback over the years in situations where I was a member of the club and married to someone who would then be the spouse. And so I started very early, enjoy it very much, and look forward to spreading the word more and making the space for women and trying to figure out what we can communicate to get more of them out there.
Yeah, and that's something that obviously Cindy and I are working very diligently in many different areas. Cindy, I know that you had some questions as well.
Karen, tell us a little bit more about your motivational speaking and the Aspen Institute. And is it the Rodell?
Yes. The Aspen Institute is a policy think tank, and the Rodell Fellows program. It's a really extraordinary program, and I'm really humbled and amazed to this day that I was even asked to be in it. What they do is they look out across the country and they select an equal number, 12 and 12, Republicans and Democrats, to put in a leadership program of up-and-coming potential political leaders, policymaking leaders, and really to expose us to trying to work together, take time out to really think about what does the Constitution really mean, and give us this opportunity to really debate issues in a very confidential and a place where we can really hash things out from one philosophy to another. And it just was an extraordinary experience. And as I said, I just remain humbled that I had the opportunity to do it.
And where did you do this?
The classes are held in Aspen, Colorado, and the offices for the Aspen Institute are based in D.C. It's a very renowned program. They have a ideas conference over a couple of days where some of the most important thinkers of our time go to really talk about different issues, and it runs the gamut of issues from every aspect of policymaking you can think of.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And let me just say, it is such an honor to talk to you. as someone who just absolutely loves golf, this is just really a wonderful moment. So thank you for this invitation.
Oh, we're thrilled to have both of you.
Yes, thank you.
This is great, and again, the game it brings people together. What I try to promote is access. You know, we would never have the opportunity to talk if it wasn't for Bruce and having him create the Business Golf for Women's keynote, event. Or it's just amazing what golf can do. Jeanne, how about you? Can you tell us a little more about what you do?
Sure. I'm a speaker and communications coach, and literally teach people how to say to communicate effortlessly using improv. So I started taking improv classes in 1998 after spending 15 years as a political fundraiser. Karen and I overlapped in Washington. I worked on the Bush campaign for a group called Team 100, raising lots of money, and then traveled around the country working for different candidates and causes, and spent 7 years with Rudy Giuliani in New York, wearing many different hats as the finance director for his campaign and the executive director of the United Nations 50th anniversary, and really had an opportunity to do a couple of things, align myself with one of my great passions, which is the political world, and to be in New York and make a difference and be introduced to some of the most incredible people that are still part of my network, and build relationships that would help hone the work that I do now, which is standing in front of people, audiences, teaching them to use the lighter side of life to access what I call their inner yes, and to bring it to every conversation they have. And I'm also delighted and honored to be, I have to mirror what Karen said, because, Cindy, you said this game humbles you, and you said there's always something to learn. And I've been sitting here joyfully listening to the both of you have conversations, because so much of what happens in the space of golf is what happens in the space of life. Yeah. And technology, as wonderful as it is, and as great as it is to allow someone like me to be many things at one time, also distracts us from relationships. And the 4 hours we have together on a course really gives us an opportunity to get to know people at a completely different level. And it's a mirror for the work that I do in corporate spaces and one-on-one. So we can't we can't use our voice enough to get people to be in that space on a beautiful green under a nice blue sky most times.
Yeah.
Thank
Jeanne,
you.
I couldn't agree more. And, when, for me, I was listening to the lead up to this when you were talking about some of the things that juniors need to really focus on the course. There's so much that translates from the golf course to your life and your professional learning. For one that stuck out to me, Cindy, was when you said never give up. And as someone, I left home when I was 17 and was on my own working, and thank goodness I could type 100 words a minute, and I still do, so I guess I'll always have a job. But never give up is a really important lesson. And when you're out there, the creativity that you have to tap into when you're thinking about what your shot's going to be, and then the strategy of what you're going to do, the whole don't be stupid kind of thing. When you've got a 150-yard shot over a pond, well, most of us, at least at my level, we're not going to make that shot. So be smart and employ that in life as well, and stay focused. And as I said before, play your game, because whether that is on the golf course or in life, you have to be you and be authentic and genuine and true to who you are, and the same can be said on the golf course.
I could not agree with you more. Now,
Beautiful.
Do you know, did you mention, Jeanne, that you work together?
Karen and I overlapped.
We crossed paths. This is so strange. Jeanne and I just talked with one another yesterday, and it is like we've known each other for 30 years. It's just one of those things, those connections that you make in life. So that's another thing I have to thank y'all for, because this wouldn't have happened if it weren't for this.
Yeah,
well,
I agree. I have to say that too.
Well, we were glad to accommodate you, and we appreciate you joining us. One of the things that I think that we try to do here with the program, and we've obviously have some help along the way with some great individuals out there in the golf industry that join in the conversation, and that is, we want to find ways of, and I think, Jeanne, it was you that said this about, sort of mimicking life. And golf really does that in a number of ways. It's probably one of the very few sports that I know of where it really challenges you as an individual. I mean, you get challenged, obviously, physically in other sports, but golf really is a thinking game. It's not so much a physical game as it is a thinking game, in my opinion, anyways. And a lot of times, as you said, you can learn a lot by playing in 4 hours with somebody, especially in a business networking environment. I've, over the years, have played in different corporate events, and it's amazing people who you would think would be very, and I hate to use this analogy, but very intelligent and very smart business people, and then you see them out in the golf course, and it's like, wow, I would have never thought that this person throwing his club 30 yards down there because he hit a bad shot into the water would be the CEO of, ABC Inc. And it's just amazing what you see on the golf course. It does tell you a lot about a person. Why do you think, or what is special, ladies, and Jeanne, I'll let you go first since I mentioned you, about golf as a business, as a relationship builder?
Well, I love what you just said about emotions coming forward, and it being an opportunity to see people, and bringing up the word challenges. I have a very different relationship with golf, and I don't know if it's because I started so early, but when I'm out there, it's almost spiritual for me. I don't have. I will get upset, over a certain shot, but the actual space just reminds me of a lot of things. And I think it personally for me, the person I played most with was my grandfather, who gave me some of the most powerful feedback about myself that probably helped to end up where I was. So there are a couple of great themes and one-liners, and one of them is, keep your eye on the ball, honey. Keep your eye on the ball. Yep. Always keep your eye on the ball. And I have two sons, 16 and 13, and I believe that the game has changed into a highly technical experience. At least when I play with people who've just started playing, they've read a lot and they've watched some videos, and they have this technical, they embrace it from a technical standpoint. My relationship with it is to say to my children, enjoy your relationship with the club.
Yeah.
Take a few breaths when you're standing right before you take your first shot, and just take a look out at where you're headed, and just enjoy your relationship with the ball and the club, and figure out how you're going to work together, and have fun out here. Yeah. And trust yourself that whatever you're thinking first is going to take you where you have to go, and that is part of the social piece and the relationship building, so that when you're at a business event and there is somebody throwing a club, if you're putting out this energy that is aligned with the club and the experience of being out there, you're going to find like-minded people and end up with a foursome with, some great people who you can have a great networking experience with. And as Karen and I experienced on the phone yesterday, bond on levels of passion and, things we're devoted to, and be able to flesh it out.
Yeah, and that's true, and it's amazing. You can. I used to, a lot of times when I was growing up, I would quite often go up to the course by myself and get joined in different groups. I always liked to, because most of my friends were like what I was talking about earlier. They weren't very good golfers, a lot of them, and so they would get very frustrated. So I a lot of times would just try to join in different groups. And it was amazing the myriad of different types that I would get joined in, groups that I would get put into over the years. But I wanted to ask both of you a question. And Karen, I'm going to let this one start with you. Cindy raised an interesting comment at the beginning of the show about taking your range, from the range to the game. How did you find that transition for each of you when you were out, obviously practicing on the range and then going? Was it an easier transition for you, or did you struggle like many people do, that when you got out in the golf course, it's like, wow, what happened to the person that was just hitting, golf balls on the range? Karen, I want to let you start off first.
That still happens every single time I go to play. I find no correlation between the range and the course. I came to golf much later in life. I was 30 when I first played. In fact, my first set of clubs was a wedding present from my husband, who to this day always is a little bit nervous that because he didn't give me some engraved heart-type present that it's going to come back to haunt him one day. But it's been a wonderful thing for our relationship. And I think one of the things that as we're trying to is to just recognize that what happens on the range and what happens on the course, they're just going to be different. And there is a certain degree of patience that one must have on when you go out and you're teeing off on number one, and just to really stay in the game, and to know that one bad hole is just that, one bad hole. And again, I keep making these connections between life and golf. Just because you have one bad event, put it aside and move on. And in golf, you can't let that you plunk the ball in the water twice on 16 and you feel like you ruined your score for the whole round. Will grip up because you still have 17 and 18, and if you can translate a 5 or a 4 on 17, that makes up for a 6 on the par 3.
Right.
And so I think it's just patience and really stay with the game and never give up.
Jeanne, what about you?
I do not spend a lot of time on the range. I just like to get right out there. If I'm on the range, it's for a few minutes, and I like to get out there as much as possible, even if it's just to be for a couple of holes, because my personal feeling is that I've lost my best shots on the range. If I have something fantastic going on in my energy field, I want to get it on the course right away.
Well
and that's been my practice, and it's funny because I do, I'll go to an outing and I'll start socializing, and people say, "You want to run to the range?" I'm like, no, I'm just going to take my shot. Right. And it drives people crazy because my feeling is I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Get me to the and I do a few yoga stretches and things like that before I get out there, just to make sure I'm feeling good. But if I take a few shots, it's very, very few. So it's my own personal thing. And as far as the game, I just love what Karen just said. You'll always make up for it. There's always going to be the next hole. And again, just another beautiful mirror of life. And that our journey and the years that we pass and the things that we transform with all happen in a golf course in 18 holes. Yeah. And it's beautiful when we can align with that.
That's so true. And Cindy, I'm going to let you jump in here just a second, but it kind of raised a thought in my mind while I was listening to the two of you. It's interesting in life in general, especially in business life. We all learn from our successes and failures, but when it comes to the golf course, a lot of people don't sort of take that in transition into golf. In their business life, if they have a failure, they'll learn from it. But yet, for some reason, the average high handicapper out there in the golf world, when they have a bad round, it haunts them sometimes, for what seems like an eternity. They don't seem to apply what they have learned in business that has, proven to be successful, that we're all going to have failures and we're all going to have successes at some point. And it's what we do with those failures that helps propel us into those successes. But yet many people still struggle on the golf course. Cindy, you've played, of course, as we all know, professionally for a number of years. What do you do to transition? Obviously, you're well versed at transitioning from range, but do you still sometimes, when you're out there in the range and you're hitting well, get out in the golf course and maybe it's not as tight as it was a few minutes ago?
I think that a couple things. I've never met anyone who tried to miss it on purpose.
Right.
So none of us are trying to miss shots. I believe that, and I agree with Jeanne, I don't like to hit a lot of golf balls either. I'd rather play. I embrace the challenge that each shot brings to me. So when we go play, every time you step up to a new shot, it's a new challenge of how do I get through this. And it's almost like a puzzle. So to me, I look at it as, this is fun. I want to see, like Karen said, I think, or Jeanne, I'm not sure which one of you said, but it's a relationship with you, the club, the ball, and the course. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, okay, how are we going to get through this one? But I also believe that most people who play do not really know how to adapt and adjust to fix their bad shots. And I'll use the analogy or the statement that one of you said, that always keep your eye on the ball. Well, I don't believe you have to keep your head down and your eye on the ball. I think it's all coming with your setup. So I think that people have these rules that the committee has told them, you got to keep your head down, you got to keep your arms straight, you got to shift your weight, turn your shoulders. And then they have too many left-brain things, and they try to the best of their ability to do those 5 old wives' tales, and they miss it, and they go, well, what was that? Then they get confused, frustrated, anxious, their emotions take over, and they can't get off this spiral downward. So I think it's easier than we've made it out to be, and I believe if people could realize that it's way easier, they would be better, they could adapt and adjust and fix their misses easier, and it would be more fun.
Yeah, that's so true. Well said. One of the things that I wanted to ask both of you as well, since we had you here at the same time, obviously there is, Karen, I think you started off in saying about how there is a lot of women gravitating to golf, and there certainly is compared to what there was, 20 or even 10 years ago. But there's still a lot of women that are hesitant. Is it just because of sort of a preconceived notion that it's primarily a sort of a boys' club, if you will? Is there something along that lines that you feel why there's still a lot of women that don't gravitate to golf as a networking tool or even just as a social builder as well? Jeanne, do you want to take that one first?
Sure. It's a really prevalent theme here, especially in New York. We don't have access to golf courses as many as many months in the year as other parts of the country. So I think that is number one. And number two is exactly what you said, that this is a prevalent thought that, it is a men's game, and I'm in an environment with a lot of people who work on Wall Street, a lot of New Yorkers,
right.
And as I said earlier, I go to a lot of outings because I'm known as somebody who raises money, and I'm known as somebody who would participate in an outing like that, and I'm known as somebody who plays golf. And so I'll attend, I'll contribute, and then be part of the course. It is not regular practice for women in the same field as a man who participates in an outing. It is not a general practice for them to explore it. So I think for women who are already golfers from a very, very young age, it's a natural answer for them to go ahead and say, sure, I'll participate. Yes, it's a seamless thing, but it's a step for somebody who does not have the prior relationship with golf. And for women who are at home with children and working, I believe that it's a 4-hour time span. They're not interested or haven't yet figured out how to make happen in their day or week.
Jeanne, I think you make some really, really good points. I think also there is sometimes a hesitancy for women to sign up for the outings during the week. Women largely are working real hard to prove themselves in the workplace, and there just seems to be more of a hesitation on a woman's part to take those 4 hours off from work to go play in a charity tournament, even if the company's sponsoring. Why that is, I'm not sure. I think generally sometimes golf is seen as intimidating for a lot of women, and it shouldn't be. I mean, I'm a mid-20s handicapper. When I'm really, really playing, I can be in the teens. I don't hit the ball far, but I'm rarely in trouble. I learned course management early on, and I am fierce around and on the green. So I'm not particularly athletic, despite wanting to have been the first female NFL football player when I was a little girl. But I'm not particularly athletic, and if anyone can be competitive on the golf course. And in scrambles, you can be a big part of a team. All you have to do in a scramble is make one shot and you've earned your way. I mean, truly, and everyone will get one decent roll on the course in 18 holes. And the other thing I wanted to piggyback on something Cindy said earlier, when I'm getting up to 18, ready to tee off, I always say the following: okay, Karen, this is your last chance for greatness on the course today, so that I finish my last hole with a great, positive, upbeat thought as I'm heading through it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah, that's fantastic.
I love that.
Cindy, I want to get you to jump in on this thought here, just sort of, again, piggybacking on what the ladies were just talking about, because you deal it from the professional standpoint as an instructor and as a coach. What are some of the techniques that you use to engage women and get them involved in golf? Because there is a lot of intimidation, Karen, as you had said. There's some intimidation for a lot of women. There's a time issue for some as well. What are some things, Cindy, that you're doing that's help engaging women in playing?
Well, as I wrote in my book, Golf 101 for Executives, no one really cares how good you are. If you play in a corporate scramble, they only care that you know the rules and the etiquette and you don't take 15 practice swings and you don't apologize for your lack of skill. All you have to do is try. And so I had 5 women yesterday from a firm come in for a lesson, and I said, look, all you have to do is swing waist high to waist high and brush the grass, and the ball's going to move forward, and you're going to help out at least one shot in that scramble, and you're going to be comfortable, and everybody's going to have a great time. So I think I try to dispel, the fear, and they don't want to be embarrassed, and just try to make them feel comfortable. And a lot of times we just want to be invited. So we got to hold our hand out and say, come play with us. It's going to be okay. Let's go have some fun. And it's funny because I videotaped all these girls yesterday, and I sent it to the one who made the appointment, and she posted it on Facebook and said, oh, my God, we had a great time. Everybody's so excited. And one of the girls played college lacrosse, and she said, wow, now I know why everybody's addicted. But you just have to invite them and help them feel comfortable and let them have some fun.
Yeah,
fun
that's
the operative word.
Yeah, that's true.
Fun is the operative word. Yeah.
And I think, again, intimidation, not just going to the events, but also, there's certainly a lot of great women professionals out there like Cindy Miller, but there needs to be a lot more. I think that's an intimidating factor for a lot of women. If you go to a lot of the courses and facilities around the country and even around the world, it's still primarily a male-dominated sport. And a lot of women, I think, are intimidated to go in. They would like to learn the game, but they go in there and, they walk maybe into a pro shop or something, and all eyes are upon them. And I think that if we can encourage and get more women involved in the game itself, not just as a player, but as a coach or teacher, I think that will also help attract more women. Karen, I know that you're involved.
Ted, I was going to say real quick, that is really important, and it's one of the reasons why the Women's Golf Association and the Business Women's Association at our club, Country Club of Roswell, has been so successful because our pros are 3 women, Jackie Canizo, Lisa Chirichetti, and Lou Benvenuto, and it's really been amazing.
Right. And I've said this for years. I've said that, and I'm not trying to knock the industry, but when you go into a lot of the pro shops, not all of them, but there's a lot of them out there. I think if they would have more women running the pro shops and using some of their creativity to just sort of spruce it up a little bit, I think a lot of them would be doing better than what they're doing right now. And I know for a fact that there's a lot of them that are struggling, and it's just because they're not receptive to change. And I think a lot of women bring some unique talents to those businesses, and I think that getting more, women professionals in there working in the facilities can open up. I mean, you're talking in excess now of 50% of the global population are women. So why would you not want to, encourage more women to be involved in the sport? Karen, I wanted to ask you, because we'd be remiss if we didn't in our time, obviously talk about business golf for women that Bruce has put together. And you're going to be a keynote speaker at an event that's coming up here in Atlanta, Georgia, May 15th and 16th at the Chateau Elan Resort and Winery, which I've been to, and Cindy, you've been there as well. Tell us a little bit about some of the workshops, some of the unique workshops that are going to be there, and what your involvement is.
It's going to be great, 2 great days of golf and networking at Chateau Elan, which both of you know is just beautiful. It's about 1 hour north of the city of Atlanta. We've got several speakers who are going to come in and talk about just general networking and how to network, but also how to really use golf and leverage golf as a business development tool and technique. We're going to have on-course instruction. It will be open to anyone from if you have never had a golf club in your hand, or if you are a 20-year golfer like me. We have instructors, Dr. Jeanne Harris and Joyce Wilcox are 2 of the on-course instructors that we'll have. And for any listeners, if you're interested, just go to businessgolfforwomen.com, or you can call 800-894-9593. We'd love to have you. It's going to be a beautiful weekend, and Chateau Elan is just a spectacular venue.
Yeah, it's a great. Now, Cindy, I know you were there for wasn't there an event that was out there
last year?
The
LPGA National Championship, yes, last year. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Very, very nice.
And Cindy, I hope you're going to join us for the Legends and Judson tournament in June.
I would love to, but Rosie has not invited me, and I did offer to speak at the women's business thing.
I think I may have to talk to Jackie about that and see if we can get you invited. We would love to have you.
Well, I even offered to do a session on leadership or team building for the business women's session. But you know what? You mentioned your pros at your club, and you have one of the best clubs I've ever been to, and your staff is amazing. So what I would like to share with the listeners is you need to interview the professional that you want to teach you. And Karen, I think it was you that, or maybe it was Jeanne, mentioning about I don't like to think a lot, or it's very technology-based. So if you're more of a right brain person and you just want to go have fun and play golf and not hit balls all day and look at TrackMan and watch your video and measure your numbers, you don't have to do that. You can interview any golf pro to find out where they're coming from and how they teach you, and you have to find one that fits your personality. Don't just take lessons from the first person that you see, because there are many, many, many wonderful golf pros, and you have to find the right fit for you.
Well said.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. And let me just read out a few notes, if I can, on the business golf for women that's coming up here on behalf of Bruce Baird, of course, who's the president and who helped put this interview together. Business Golf for Women, of course, conducts workshops which empower business women in relationship networking using, of course, golf as the vehicle. He offers 2 to 3 day workshops which provide a practical framework for customer golf. Uniquely, the program provides golf instruction from leading LPGA teachers who present the instruction integrated with networking techniques, and the instruction is designed to give all skill levels the practical fundamentals to participate in the networking on the golf course. And as I mentioned, his upcoming workshop is just north of Atlanta at the Chateau Elan Resort and Winery. This coming May 15th and 16th. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, from the email that he sent me earlier, I think there is still maybe 1 or 2 more spots open. So if you're listening to the program and you want to reach out and take part in this, you can certainly contact Bruce Baird at 800-894-9593. And if for some reason that spot is filled, I know, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's looking at putting some others later in the year. I think one in Las Vegas and another one back in the Atlanta area again towards the fall. So if you're interested in taking part in these, I would highly recommend it. There's going to be some great keynote speakers, much like our guest here today. So just reach out to Bruce at 800-894-9593. Jeanne, what are some of the things, I want to give you an opportunity as well to talk about some of the things that you use golf for in your business life, in networking, and how do you, I mean, obviously you play at different corporate events and things like that, but what specifically do you use golf for when it comes to business?
Well, I want to go back to something you said to answer that question, that what we accomplish in the game of golf will help women in business. And that is that yesterday I ran a workshop for 100 women on Wall Street, and this was a nonprofit group that gave them networking. And when I finished my workshop, a few women came up to me and said, I wasn't going to come today because I had so much work to do. I wasn't going to make the time to sit here and listen, and I'm so glad I did. So that goes back to what we accomplish, encouraging people to see golf as a networking vehicle. And Cindy, I love what you said. You said it's easier than we've made it out to be.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Where we can take this, where Ted, you and Cindy could by having these segments over and over again, you're moving us forward.
Right.
And that is what golf has always done for me. I, without hesitation, know that I will have a great time when I get there. I know that some great things are going to happen, and it will be a bit of a vacation and an opportunity to network. And because I run a networking dinner, I see networking as a vacation and incorporate that to as many spaces as possible. Because again, it's easier than we've made out to be. What I literally train people to do using this the improv theories is that when we are one way in one space feeling good, we're allowed to bring that good feeling into another space. So to have this seamlessness brings an effortless of communication. And Cindy, I love Golf 101 for executives. All you need to do is try, and that is it. And we women, Karen and I had this discussion yesterday, women will move women forward by helping each other.
Absolutely.
And golf is just another vehicle to do that. The more we encourage each other, the more we cheer each other on, we are going to get this done.
You know,
wow.
It's
you guys are great.
Yeah, that's great. Well, and what a great team. I mean, I think you guys should go on the road together and promote golf and networking together.
I'm in.
You wouldn't know that you haven't known each other for certainly your paths. I'm sure, as you mentioned earlier, have crossed a few times over the years. But it sounds like you're old friends. So maybe you need to collaborate and do something together. Let me just say this, kind of in closing here, if I can, real quickly. Golf is certainly, as we all know, is a great business tool. But I also think too, it's a phenomenal, especially for women. Women are certainly very social creatures, if you will, much more and certainly better at it than us men are. And I think that there's a huge social advantage to playing golf as well. I mean, sometimes when women hear, well, it's a great business tool, if it's a stay-at-home or mom or something, she's thinking, well, why do I need to take part? I don't run a business or I'm not in business. But it's a great social vehicle as well. And the optimal word, both of you have said it, is you need to go out and have fun. And golf can be a way to have fun, whether you shoot in double digits or a handicap or not. It is really irrelevant. If you're going out there, as Cindy, as you put it in your book, just go out there and try. But it's a great social vehicle as well. It doesn't always just have to be about business. And networking is just a great social function as well, and it's a great way to meet new people and reacquaint with old people that you haven't maybe seen in a little while. And it's something that you can do with your spouse as well. If Karen, you had mentioned you got golf clubs some years back from your spouse. What a great opportunity for the two of you to be able to go and play together.
We play every weekend together. Steve and I do most weekends together, and it's what our vacations are wrapped around. And I think if I had 3 words to really describe golf, it would be fun, fellowship, and friendship.
Well said. Again, ladies, I wish we had more time, but unfortunately we have to wrap it up. Cindy and I certainly want to thank both of you for joining us here. And again, let me just one last time remind everybody of the upcoming workshop in north of the Atlanta area, May 15th, 16th. At the Chateau Elan Resort and Winery, where Karen was going to be a keynote speaker there, and that is for the Business Golf for Women networking. And it's you can go to their website at www.businessgolfforwomen.com. And as I said, I think there's still a spot or two available. You can go to 1-800-894-9593. And Bruce will certainly accommodate you. If not for this event, he'll let you know of some of the upcoming events that he's got planned, and maybe you can participate in then. Karen and Jeanne, respectively. Karen, if you'd just like to maybe say a few comments here just to close off, and then Jeanne, I'll let you have a few final thoughts as well.
Just thank you again for having us both on this morning, and to all the ladies out there listening, golf really is about fun, fellowship, and friendship. So whether you've never played, pick up a club, get out there, and play around.
Perfect. And
I have to agree with that, and thank both of you, Ted and Cindy, for creating the space for the conversation to continue. And I have to just mirror Karen, quote Karen, fun, fellowship, and friendship. It couldn't be more succinct than that, and women like simple. Oh, and Ted, you said women are social creatures, and if women could hear that that's another space for them to be social and naturally be themselves, then go for it. Yeah.
Well, it just, I've played with women over the years many, many times, and many, been part of, as I said earlier, jumping in and to make up the foursome. And we just had a blast. We had a great time. Some would be a little intimidated at first, especially if they didn't play very much. But I was always someone that they felt very relaxed around and not threatening. And we just had a great time. And actually, I played some of the best golf with some of the women's groups that I jumped in on, just because they like to have fun. That was what they were there for, is having fun. They weren't as competitive at that time, and they just wanted to have a good time, and that's really what it's all about. We would love, ladies, if you could sort of do us one favor, and that is to help spread the word of the Women of Golf show through your networks. We would really appreciate that. We think that Cindy and I have got something here that is very unique, and we want to continue to obviously grow the program, and so we would certainly hope that you'll continue from time to time when available to join into the program, come back on, of course, but also to spread the word through your networks and just let them know that there's a program here that supports women in golf.
Well, you got it. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much,
ladies.
ladies. All right, have a great day, and we look forward to having you back on the program.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cindy, what a great couple of ladies. We just have a moment or two. I know we're running a little bit over schedule. Just a quick note. Unfortunately, Bret wasn't able to join us till quite late, and he graciously bowed out to give more time for the ladies. But what great spokeswomen, if you will, not only for business but for the game itself.
Absolutely. Wow. They were really a treat to have on the program.
Yeah, and the fact that that they really didn't know one another that well beforehand, but were able to communicate here just in the last day or so, and a new friendship has emerged, and that just shows you how easy it can be. They both have a common thread, business, but also a love and passion for golf, and now they're able to use that in their own lives, and a new friendship has developed, and that's how easy it is. So for those of you listening out there, it's literally a phone call away. You can connect with somebody and reach out and use this game as a way of either a social or a business environment as well. Either way you choose. Cindy, we got to, of course, go for today, and I know we've both got things to do, but thank you, as always, for being a part of helping grow this game. And we want to thank, obviously, all of the listeners from around the world for tuning in, and our very special guests, Karen Handel and Jeanne Stafford, for joining us as well. And Bret, we'll get you back on here real soon. But thank you very much for joining us each and every week on the broadcast. Don't forget to tune in next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on blogtalkradio.com's Women of Golf. Cindy, have a great week, and I will see you back here next week on the Women of Golf.
You do the same. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.